Hello.
Braden Harrington here with Davie Portman for upNXT, the YouTube. Yes, we're on YouTube now.
We are, yeah. We just thought, why not? We've both got the day off. We got a bit of time, so why not put this show, as we're doing it for free, why not put it on the YouTube as well?
Yes, welcome YouTube Room. This is a free show. We do have a podcast. You can find upNXT wherever you find your podcasts. We are your NXT friends. But Wednesday nights we go live on YouTube, youtube.com/upNXT. And we thought we'd do a little free show. Well, we have a Patreon. And, we do a show called Best Match Ever.
Sorry, we have a show called what?
Best
Match Ever.
Yes. It is from the nerdy minds of me and you, where we pick out...
we get matches. Themes, so we'll look at, if it's Hell in a Cell month, we'll look at the best Hell in a Cells. If it's Valentine's Day, we decided to look at the best of the Hearts,
yes.
Bret Hart.
Yes.
We've looked at different match stipulations, different rivalries. We've gone to, 90s All Japan with Misawa versus Kawada and Kabashi versus Misawa.
We did one of my favorite ones we did, which is on the Patreon. The catalog there is Ric Flair versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. The three. Well, we went deep into that one. We went to some secret matches, fan cam matches, all this shit. But the three main matches, those were so much fun.
They were nuts.
We've been doing so many different best matches ever, and we have so many lined up. We just did one for our Extreme month, which was the Masato Tanaka versus Mike Awesome. And we had Nate Milton come on and talk all about that.
Yeah, we've started reaching out because I think in wrestling, it's same with music, same with movies. Everyone has different tastes. So it's good to reach out to see what kind of tastes other people have. And Nate Milton happened to pick Tanaka versus Mike Awesome. And it just fit in perfectly with this Extreme month we're doing on the Patreon. So for just $5, if you become a North American champion, we've got loads and loads of these shows, and today we thought we'd as New Japan Cups just finished, we've just had Dominion, we'd do a kind of show, sort of going over and recapping the Cup, but in the style of Best Match Ever. So for those of you that don't follow the Patreon, you kind of can get a little taster of what we offer.
A little appetizer.
Yeah.
A little freebie.
Now, this might not be correctly named with Best Match Ever. This could be Best New Japan Cup 2020 Match Ever.
It could be Best Not WWE Product in a Pandemic World of Wrestling Ever.
Yes.
But you know what? We're sticking with
the name's branded, so we're sticking with it.
Yeah, look, we usually go in depth on these matches on our Patreon, and we give our ratings, and we not argue, well, sometimes, about which one we like better, and we did a Best of Backlash, and we that one's even more personal. You can pick, and I think we both agreed on Randy versus Mick, though. I'm pretty sure. Didn't you pick something else?
Oh, I might have picked something else.
Yeah,
I
don't remember.
I can't even remember. I'll have to go back.
We usually go through and we rate and rank and stuff like that. So for this show, we decided, look, we are NXT people, but we love New Japan Pro Wrestling, and the fact that they announced they came back with their shows and everything like that, it was very exciting as a wrestling fan. So someone listening right now is like, I don't watch New Japan, but I listen to you guys, so I'll listen to you guys. Well, hey, New Japan.
That's okay. You can do that thing where you go to work tomorrow, and I'm sure everyone is just talking about New Japan there, and you're like, shit, I didn't watch it, but I listened to Davie and Braden talk about it. So you're gonna go, guys, that Suzuki Nagada match was nuts, and just pretend you know what you're talking about,
or pretend you're actually at work, because you're probably not still at work either. But you could be at work at the water cooler, and when someone says, "Hey, how was your weekend?" and you just reply, "Everything is evil."
Yeah,
because that's what I got out of last week. Yes. So best match ever, New Japan Cup. Now we will give some thoughts on Dominion afterwards, because this whole cup leads up to that event that they did with a crowd, kind of.
Yes.
So that was really cool as well. But you have picked five 5 matches from the New Japan Cup that we're going to dissect here today.
Absolutely. So I've been trying to kind of keep up to date with my ratings because I'm a nerd, but mainly because when it comes to the end of the year and we do these big shows with John and Wei where we kind of go through the best of the year, it's really hard to remember 12 months worth of stuff, especially a year like this where every month seems about a year long because of all the nuts stuff going on. So I thought it would be fun to kind of do my ratings, and from that I kind of compiled the best 5 from like what I thought, and kind of looked at the general consensus, checked it with people. A lot of people kind of agreed, and they're the 5 matches we're going to talk about today. But we do have this new Facebook page.
Yes.
upNXT Podcasts, and
the group too.
Within the group, upNXT group, John Cino, who we're calling our associate producer, social media director, the third man, has been running this kind of bracket challenge for the New Japan Cup, and obviously it's all over now, so we've got the results right here, and we'll start with what Braden wants to hear, I know, with 18 points. The Japanese wrestling correspondent of
expert.
Post Wrestling was WH Park in last place. We love you, WH. If we just closely ahead of him, we have Chris Elliott, Matt Gesk, Kenneth Trainer, David Dark, Hart. I'm sure Braden wants to know where he was. You were ahead of me for most of the tournament until Big Tom got knocked out.
Yes.
So
I put all my money on Big Tom.
On Big Tom. So you ended up with 29 points, joint with Benjamin Kogel, who I believe I saw in the YouTube room just a second ago. I was ahead with 36 points. I believe I got half of the final correct with Okada, although I, along with a lot of other people, thought it was going to be Sanada versus Okada. Just a point ahead of me was MJ from NJ and Peter Salerno. And then if we go to the top 5, we have Andrew McDonald with 40 points. Jalen Thomas with 41 points. Russell Wilkinson and Sunil Kand with 42 points. And then it came down to the final. We had Kevin Swanky, who picked Okada. We had John Cino, who organised the whole fucking thing, who picked Evil, and obviously John Cino won it. But he is. We have something in wrestling called vacant. Quite often we'll have the champion just marked as vacant, and this is what John Cino's done. And we've just had Eric Bischoff just walk in with a briefcase and gone, "Hey, Kevin Swanky, it's yours. You're the champion." So Kevin, we're gonna hit you up, but let us know like your t-shirt size and your address, and we'll get you your winnings.
Yes, an upNXT care package.
Absolutely. So John was actually the only person to pick Evil to win, and got 24 out of 31 picks right. 4 people picked Okada to win. Only Kevin and John both picked Okada and Evil to be the finalists, and the biggest upset was the thing that kind of fucked me over was Sanada's elimination. I think the kind of writing was on the wall as soon as you saw what like the stories they were doing in the tournament. It kind of became a lot clearer that Evil would win.
Goto didn't win.
I
kind of would have preferred it.
Well, we'll get to that. But let's start. We'll go in chronological order. Let's start when everything was kind of bright and breezy. All excited to see New Japan coming back. We go to Korakuen Hall on June 16th. It's night 1. It's round 1. And how do you headline night 1? By having Big Match Tom.
Big Match Tom, indeed. I was really excited when New Japan was announcing this whole tournament, and they were... tournaments make sense in this kind of time we're in, because it fills time, it gives you actual matches. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. WWE should just continue doing them as well. They stopped after that Cruiserweight one. But I was super into it, and then I get to see Big Tom, and I picked him to win this whole thing in this bracket tournament game thing, because I think he's a wrestling star that is like over the past few years, he's gotten a lot of traction with the real like kind of in-depth fans. A lot of the fans are like, you got to watch all this guy's matches because he puts on bangers.
I think especially when it comes to the G1, when you're exposed to these guys in big level matches so much, he's been the MVP for me for like the last 3 years.
He's
in
the kind
the
of
G1.
guy you can put on a Tom match from like the G1 from the past few years and show like. I'm pretty sure we watched it with your dad, Kenny Omega.
Oh, yep, we did.
But like, you can watch Ishii because he covers all the bases. He's just a badass-looking, scary Japanese dude, and he's the Stone Pitbull. So him to kind of speed this first match, I was excited to see him.
I think there's also something about him as well where, and his height kind of comes into play in this first match against El Desperado. You kind of forget how small he is, height-wise. He's a tank. He's built. But he's pretty short, so
I think we're both taller than him.
Oh yeah, much taller than him. So I think if you need him in that kind of underdog role, he plays it great. But also can play that kind of like dominant role, which we'll see in a later match against Hiromu. So yeah, this is the first match. It's against El Desperado. I've got to admit, I'm not particularly familiar with El Desperado. The way I tend to watch New Japan is I tend to skip all of the kind of 6-man and 8-man undercard, and I go right to the kind of...
The meat.
Mainly because of the time difference. Like, if it was on a social hour and I had nothing to do, I'd probably watch the whole thing, but I've kind of got to cram it in before work. And I feel that's where El Desperado usually lies. So for me, I'm not as familiar with him.
He's just some dude in a mask.
Bit of face paint.
I mean, we should all be wearing masks.
We should all be wear your masks.
Desperado, his mask actually does cover his mouth and nose.
Oh no, I thought his mouth is all face painted up, I think.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at a picture of him and I'm like, is that paint or is that a mask? I can't tell.
It's a mask there.
Yeah.
But
it's a cool mask.
They do the thing at the beginning of this match where they I know Okada does this a lot, where they like kind of push into the ropes and kind of tease the clean break, and
Okada's the goat at that.
Okada does it all the time. But when El Desperado does it, this is where he mocks the height difference. Because El Desperado's got some height on him, and he's just like comparing, like, oh, you're so short.
El Desperado, according to Wikipedia, is 5'9.5".
Oh, okay. So that kind of tells you what the height Ishii is if a 5'9" guy is
Ishii's
mocking.
5'7".
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm 6'1", and I'm scared of Ishii.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So this right away pisses off Ishii, who invites El Desperado to hit him as hard as he can. They start trading forearms. Ishii gets hit with this huge slap across the chest, and they're knocking each other down with like shoulder tackles. El Desperado is definitely playing the heel in this match. At some point, he kind of mimics Toriano and removes the padding from the corner. It's all Desperado at this point. He's just dominating, throwing Ishii around into the barricades, using heel tactics. Ishii comes back with a load of chops and forearms right to the side of the head. He blocks a spear, and then El Desperado gets the advantage again after raking the eyes. What is it with wrestling and eyes in 2020? Come on.
Yeah.
He then manages to hit the spear. He attempts to apply the stretch muffler, or as he calls it, numero dos.
Like the Brock lock.
The Brock lock, indeed. But he gets locked into a knee bar, manages to get to the ropes, and now Ishii is just attacking the knee of El Desperado, because going into this match, they're kind of calling about how Ishii's knees have been weak. So this has been Desperado's tactic, and now Ishii's giving El Desperado a bit of a run for his own money. El Desperado hits a drop kick to the knee and manages to apply the numero dos. He then goes for his kind of pump handle finisher, but this gets countered into a suplex from Ishii. And then Ishii attempts his kind of Kawada kicks to the face, but because his knee's been so worn down, he can't hit them with the speed he normally would. And this allows Despi to kind of get him with the Kawada kicks and kind of lay him in thicker.
If Tom's doing the kicks, Tom and Hero's doing the kicks, would you call not Kawada kicks, but Tom kicks?
Tom kicks. Ish kicks, I don't know. Ish kicks. There's a crucifix bomb into a sliding lariat from Ishii, and then the heel, El Desperado, hits a low blow. I think Tom's out in the first round. but Ishii kicks out on 2. Desperado runs into that exposed turnbuckle, but right after Ishii gets thrown headfirst into the exposed turnbuckle, this has got to be it this time. 1, 2, Ishii kicks out again. Desperado now hits his pump handle slam, and Ishii kicks out. There are some really great counters at the end of this match, like really cool sequences. We get a super kick and a forearm smash from El Desperado. This big, dirty headbutt from Ishii, followed by a huge lariat, kick out. This time, he goes for the brainbuster, Ishii's finisher, gets countered into a small cradle. Ishii comes out of it, hits the lariat, hits the brainbuster. 1, 2, 3. Ishii advances round 1 in 20 minutes, 17 seconds.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Like you, I'm not super familiar with Desperado and his stupid pants, but this was pretty good. Maybe because I'm just a huge Tomohiro fan, but this was like a lot of fun. I thought it did the job of me watching as a fan. If I'm Ishii's fan and I'm watching this, I was so mad because I was biting on all the times I thought that they wouldn't give him this shot to go further into this thing. Not because I picked him as my guy in the brackets to win the whole thing, but every time Desperado, I think it was, like you said, he threw him into the turnbuckle or something. You thought he was going to get the win by like evil ways, which they don't do too often in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but I was like,
But it's often, in tournaments, it's a good way out. Like, you'll see with Tanahashi's match, like Taichi screwed him over, and you think, how can Tanahashi lose in the round 1? But it's kind of the only way you can do it.
Because Desperado, he's pretty good. Watching this, I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe you look weird, and that's why I haven't given you a chance. But this was probably one of the best matches I've seen.
I think he raised his stock a lot with this match, and I believe he's got. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I'm just looking up now, but he's got a singles match at the next New Japan card. Is it Okada? Okada's with Yujiro. But El Desperado, I think he's going for the Never Open weight, I believe. So he definitely raised his stock. I think not being too familiar with him, just the way the match was laid out, I got it. That pump handle is his finisher. And when Ishii's kind of head is going against the exposed turnbuckle and then it's hit, I bit on it. Did you watch this in English or Japanese?
I watched it in English the first time, but then the second time, I threw it on yesterday and just kind of played it in Japanese.
So I did it the other way round, because the commentary was added later, like a couple of days later with Kevin Kelly. And for me, when I first watched this match, I gave it 4.25. That was with Japanese commentary. After watching with Kevin Kelly, I went down to a 4.
Oh.
And I love Kevin Kelly, but I think in this empty arena era, the 3 Japanese guys on commentary added so much atmosphere to these matches that made me bite more. Whereas I felt Kevin Kelly was missing Childish Gambino and Harry Potter with this tournament, because he just doesn't. He's calling the moves, but wasn't really getting that emotion.
What do you mean? Where's that lady on the monitor?
Yeah. I went for I changed my score to a 4 for this one after watching it second time round. Meltzer a 4.25, cage match is 7.87. Thought a really good story being told with Ishii as the kind of babyface underdog here and overcoming all the shit thrown at him.
I was kind of shit thrown at him. I was kind of upset that this was one of his opponents, because I just figured I want big matches right away, New Japan, and then this was one that was thrown in. I was like, I don't want to watch this guy with his mask and his pants, but it was pretty good. I'd give it a 4 as well. It was fun. It was fun to watch, but was it the best match ever?
Was it indeed? So we go to night 2, round 1, and this is we talk about big lads wrestling on upNXT. Here we're going to talk about old lads wrestling.
Old men wrestling.
Old men wrestling. This is June 17th, Korakuen Hall, round 1, night 2. Minoru Suzuki versus Yuji Nagada. This match is so much fun. I've seen this match 3 times now, because I showed you this on one of our late night sessions.
We've been just every Wednesday night. We pimped out our backyard. We got lights. We got Wi-Fi extender that works. And we just hang out and we watch wrestling a lot of times. And when this match came out, you were like, "Did you watch this yet?" And I said, "No, I didn't."
It's like, hey, Braden, how do you feel about watching some old men kill each other?
Do you want to watch two old Japanese dudes in really short tights slap each other for maybe 20 minutes? Yeah, I do, actually.
So, yeah, this match is so much fun. It's essentially that. They're just both forearming each other to start with. Suzuki's facial expressions might be the best in the business. You see this guy walking around the street, you probably think just like this sweet little old Japanese man.
Yeah.
And then you watch him in a wrestling ring and he's terrifying.
Yeah.
His facials are so good. He's just laughing every time he gets hit. Nagada is doing the same. He's just like clenching his teeth and smiling through all these strikes. There's a big slap exchange. The first kind of like thing that isn't just punching each other in the fucking head is Suzuki catching a big boot and turning it into a knee bar. They then start fighting around the outside. They're throwing plastic bins at each other, plastic water bottles, smashing a chair over Nagada's back, which just explodes.
Oh, I love when a good New Japan chair just explodes.
Yep.
Because it's like, it's a real chair. Like, it's not a fake chair.
Yeah, it's just a chair.
Yeah.
It's just a fault. It's like the ones we're sat on right now.
Yeah, it's a real chair.
The ref's making the count, and they do the spot where both Nagada and Suzuki kind of do a double take, look at each other.
Whoa.
Oh shit, we're on 19. Run into the ring. There's Suzuki just bullying Nagada, who's trying to get to his feet, but he keeps punching him down. Then Nagada starts doing the kind of the chest kicks, the Daniel Bryan-esque yes kicks, if you will. And Suzuki's like sat on his bum, like absorbing these things and like kind of almost falling to his back, but then hulking up, shaking his head and just firing back up. We get repeated arm breakers from Nagada. Suzuki, about 17 minutes into the match, goes for the first pin attempt, just for a 1 count. Suzuki attempts the Gotch-style pile driver, but can't quite lift him up. They then do this huge slap battle across the face.
Slap battle. This is this whole match. I call this match the slap bet, basically.
But it goes from kind of forearms to chops, and now this is like, you know when you watch those Russian slap fights?
Yeah.
That's just here.
This was this. Yeah, I got this out of this. This was very, like you said, you look at this, and it's two old dudes in their underwear. Like, legit. It's just two old Japanese dudes coming from the onsen earlier, and here they are in their underwear slapping. And I was all for it. This whole, like, every time they were killing each other back and forth with this slap fest, I was like, why is this so good? This doesn't have any right to be this good. I was super into this.
And then we get, which I'm pretty sure is the first bump of the match.
There isn't any for like so long.
It's pretty much the closing sequence is Nagada hits a huge suplex, Suzuki gets right back up and charges at him, but gets caught in the Saito suplex. 1, 2, 3. Nagada defeats Suzuki in 20 minutes, 35 seconds.
Crazy.
This match is so much fun. I love the idea that they just save pretty much the one bump right for the end. Because you buy it. You're like, yeah, these guys aren't going to win by punching each other the hardest because they've been trying for 20 minutes. So it's just like, all right, Saito suplex. Suzuki's face at the end when he's just lying in the ring, like, what happened? He's looking around. What happened? Did I lose?
Like, what the fuck is going on?
I think this is great, and this just shows how, even though you can be kind of in the twilight of your career, if you're a smart wrestling head, you can still put on really entertaining matches. We all love fucking 630s, Hurricane Ranas, all that, but you don't need that to tell a good story.
No flips, just fists.
No flips, just fists.
Open palms.
And
this is crazy. Both of these guys are 52 years old.
Yeah.
And they just put on this match. Yeah, this isn't your classic wrestling match. This is one I actually highly recommend to people because there isn't bumps through it. It's them like slapping each other, just like trash talking each other. A lot of acting, like you said, a lot of facial reactions, a lot of things, and more people are more known. More people know Suzuki than they know Nagada, I'd say, just because the past few years Suzuki had this like kind of rise in the world of wrestling. Like
Nagada was bigger like 10, 15 years ago. Yeah,
and like Suzuki is. People are still like, oh man, this guy's so good. He's 52. Like, I kind of like this guy a lot. Like Suzuki, that one title reign is gonna happen one day. This
in Noah maybe, but
I really enjoyed this match, and it didn't have the right to be this fun, but like it totally was. It was a sleeper hit for me. I didn't expect this.
I as I said, I've watched this 3 times now, and I actually bumped my score up with this one. Okay. I'm like bumping it down. I went 4.5. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Meltzer agrees with me. He gave it 4.5, and Cage Match an 8.39. Probably the most fun match in the whole tournament.
I think it was the most fun match to watch in the entire tournament because it was just a slap fest. It was a slap fest. I agree. I give this 4.5 stars because it was just so much fun. I've only watched it twice. I have to bump it up to the 3 times, but very, very fun to watch. And it kind of did leave me wanting to see something coming. I want to see this match again, like this style. I want it to keep happening, and I think it's Suzuki that can continue just to do this. We after we watched this one, we went back and watched Okada versus Suzuki in the Rain.
Oh, yeah.
We were watching that one, and that one like is not quite the same match, but they're wrestling in the rain, and this guy is still managing to like do his shit, like his slaps, his chops, his acting, and everything. So it's like you could put this guy in any ring anywhere, and it'd probably be amazing. Was it not supposed to be? Who was Suzuki supposed to fight WrestleMania?
Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy. You know what I mean? Like there's 2 different guys of the acting and facial and you know like all that. The opposite ends of the stick, but mixing would have been crazy.
And I would say on rewatch, I watched this again with Japanese commentary. I'd be interested to know how it was with. Did you see Kevin Kelly's commentary for this at all?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
But for me, the 2 were just so engaging with their facials that you could watch this in silence almost. I feel.
Although you love to hear those slaps.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Those sounds of them beating each other up.
That takes us to 2 guys who I think are destined to do this forever.
Okay.
Round 1, night 3, June 22nd, Korakuen Hall. Sho versus Shingo Takagi.
Yes.
These 2 had a killer match in the Best of the Super Juniors last year, which it was on a lot of people's list as best match of the year. Mm-hmm. Shingo just absolutely killing it in that tournament. Sho being known more as being in this junior heavyweight tag team and really making a name for himself in that tournament, and then even more so with this match. Shingo is kind of playing the heel in this match just by being the veteran, a bit more of a bully here.
Yeah, we watched this together before. I watched it again back, but like Shingo is a heel, but he's like not a heel.
I mean, it's the case with most of LIJ. LIJ kind of started as a heel faction, but they're all baby faces, really. Like over the last couple of years. But you see this in Japanese wrestling more so than American, where it's less defined. So if you have like Shingo against more of a, I wouldn't say rookie, but more of a up-and-comer like Sho, he's going to naturally kind of fall more into that heel role because Sho's the underdog.
Yes,
and you want to root for the underdog.
That's how I saw it.
And Shingo right away is just getting into his face, shoving him. The bell rings and Sho just charges at Shingo with these clotheslines. The speed at the beginning of this match is awesome. Sho knocks Shingo down with a lariat. I always find the way Shingo runs the ropes so exciting. I know that sounds weird because it's kind of the first thing you learn in wrestling, but Shingo, just his kind of speed and intensity when he runs the ropes, and especially when they're trying these clothesline exchanges, and then he'll go, right, I'm going to run to this rope instead and change direction.
Yeah.
Always a lot of fun. There's a drop kick and a clothesline to Sho that sends him out of the ring. This big chop exchange. They're now like hitting these forearms. Sho starts firing back, hits this big clothesline in the corner, starts running the rope, ducks a lariat and hits his spear for a 2 count. Sho has a pretty good spear. You normally seeing the kind of bigger guys hit it, but I think his speed makes it look really cool.
Yeah, he does have a cool spear.
Shingo then just hits this jab out of nowhere. Like, I think it's a left-hand jab followed by the lariat. Sho attempts a German suplex, but Shingo's fighting out. Shingo attempts no Shigami, but Sho fights out, kicks him to the chest, kicks him to the back, and then kicks him in the head. Both are charging at each other with more lariats. We get Saito suplexes from both guys. This is where Shingo kind of changes direction, hits the lariat, hits the sliding lariat, then hits Noshigami.
Oh, I love that move, man.
It's great.
The coolest name too. It's like a snap gory bomb essentially.
Yeah.
Right. Like put the guy in the gory bomb and then drop him face first. But he does it so quick. He does it better than any Guerrero I've seen, and I'm gonna get heat for that. But man, he does it so fast.
It's the speed this guy has.
It's so fast, and the name Noshigami means like to wrap a gift, like to present you with a gift.
Okay.
So it's like I'm ending this. Here
right.
you go. Here is this thing for you. I love it.
They're now fighting on the top. There's a headbutt. There's a sunset flip into the power breaker from Sho, which is the kind of power bomb to the knees, like Project Champa.
Yeah, it's like
is
Project Champa. Yeah.
And what I love is because I guess Sho being in the junior heavyweights division, he's used to guys more his size. I know Shingo's just graduated, but he's bigger.
Yeah.
So he hits the power breaker, but is now selling his knees because he's just dropped a big guy on his knees. Shingo kicks out on 1. There's a deadlift bridging German for a 2. Sho pulls the arrow, releases, goes for the shock arrow, which is a double pump handle pile driver. Looks great, but Shingo fights out, hits a lariat to the back. There are forearms and slaps back and forth. Sho hits 10 forearms in a row, gets caught by a stiff jab. Made in Japan from Shingo Takagi.
Crazy.
For a 2. Followed by a fucking huge pumping bomber. They're just running lariat, but clothesline from hell style. So much behind it. Only a 2.
I bet.
Sho catches Shingo in an arm breaker, pulls Shingo away from the ropes, hits the shock arrow once. That's the like double pump handle pile driver.
I don't know how you do this move.
It's similar to kind of like a straight jacket pile driver, but with the arms between the legs.
So you're upside down then.
Yep.
You're straight jacketing a guy upside down.
Hits it twice. 1, 2, 3. Sho defeats Shingo Takagi in 17 minutes, 6 seconds. A real upset. I think this definitely spoiled a lot of people's brackets.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people had Shingo going a long way. I thought this match was so much fun. Again, any match that makes me forget there's no crowd there is a really good match for me.
Yes, this is one of those matches, definitely. This was like, everyone was talking about how these two kind of had this little feud, the fight forever, if you will, because it's just Sho who's kind of breaking away from this tag team that he's in with the Roppongi kind of 3K or whatever, with, was it Sho and Yo?
Yeah, Yo's just picked up an injury, so he'll be out for a while.
So Sho's kind of getting this like rub, and it seemed to be working. Like a lot of people are like pretty behind him. I was behind Sho and Yo when they were a tag team. I really liked him as well, but I think he's kind of coming into his own. I think this was one of his best showcases. I think him and Shingo could literally just keep having matches, which they did continue on to go have in Dominion. I think we'll mention at the end of the show. But this one was a lot of fun. Like you said, it was a very Smash Mouth kind of style with both of these guys. I got the story out of this was Shingo's like more of the vet here, the scary like dude, and Sho's like, I got to give you everything or else I'm losing, and then that's what he did, and it was good. I would like to see these guys fight again. Absolutely,
I see Sho as a future heavyweight champion.
Is he gonna change his name?
It needs something. It needs to be Sho something, right?
So apparently his name is Sho Tanaka.
Sho Tanaka. That sounds way better, right? That sounds
way better than just Sho. Like what?
Yeah, I think.
I mean, there's way worse names in New Japan. We'll get to them.
It needs the reverse. It needs the reverse Vince treatment, right? You need to get that name back on there.
You need to add a name.
But yeah, I see him as a future champion. Like, I think this guy's the future. His theme is awesome. He's like
likes electricity.
He fucking loves electricity. He's a good looking kid, but has the cauliflower ears, so you know he can like kind of fuck you up.
His ear is gross, isn't it?
Yeah.
Show me your ear. It's really gross. He's only 30, so he's gonna be a star. I really like this match, but I also just like this little like weird feud that they created.
It's great. Yeah.
It's really
cool. What would you give this match?
Oh man, I really liked it. I'd go like 4.5 stars. Yeah.
Same as me.
Yeah.
I went 4.5. Dave Meltzer went 4.5. Cage match, it's at an 8.59.
Yeah, I really like it. I want to see more of Shingo. I think Shingo is a guy they're missing out on, kind of. I know we're kind of talking already when this has all happened. So like, Shingo is the kind of the one that I think they should have put the rocket to him instead of kind of the direction they went. But I guess it's just too soon for them. But like, he's shown in a year, he's made himself really prominent in the world, in the eyes of wrestling fans. Like fast forward 2 years, I didn't know who he was, and then now I'm watching all his matches, and you can't miss him, right? So it's like,
I think
it's hot, strike it.
I think there's something about. I mean, he's your never open weight champion at the moment. I think there's also something with him that the whole thing in Japan about where you came from, and he's only been in New Japan for 2 years now, whereas someone like Evil, although I think we'll both agree we prefer Shingo Takagi, he's been a New Japan project since a young lion. So I think there's kind of that thing going on. I think Shingo will. He's gonna have a match against Evil anyway, because surely Evil's gonna go through all the LIJ guys. So I think that would happen at some point. But I'm with you. I want to see him higher than the never open weight. But I'd say that about a lot of guys on the roster.
I like this match. I like the Dominion one as well, but Shingo needs the rocket.
I think I preferred this to the Dominion one. I like the Dominion one, but I mean both really good.
I both really like both of them.
Now we go back to Big Match Tom against another favourite of the BDE, Hiromu Takahashi. This is July 2nd, Korakuen Hall. This is a quarter-final match, and obviously...
This tore me apart.
So
this is two of my favorites.
It is.
Two New Japan favorites here.
And this isn't a match we should really be seeing, because the junior heavyweights and the heavyweights don't really mix it up. The junior heavyweights aren't usually in the New Japan Cup. So with the current pandemic, they've obviously missed out on all their foreign talent. Yeah. They've kind of got to put together everything you can. That's why we've got the likes of Gato and Jado, who, spoilers, we're not talking about in this show. But these two haven't. I'm just checking if they've had.
I'm sure they've tangled
this.
Singles maybe.
Looking on Cage Match, this is the only singles match they've had, which isn't too much of a surprise, because why would they?
Hiromu Takahashi he came back from his injury, had his crazy run with Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom, that match with him, just fantastic. He's been a star in Japan for the past 2 years. When I went over to Wrestle Kingdom 12, he was in the Fatal 4-Way with the junior heavyweights. So many people were going insane for Hiromu. Like, everything works for him. His look, his wrestling, his character. I don't know what his character is with his types with his aliens and cats and stuff all over it, but I fucking love it, and I eat it all up. And then he's facing Tomohiro Ishii, my other favorite, so I'm just torn having to watch this. It's like watching your two best friends fight.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to pick who wins, but I want to watch the fight.
So here, Hiromu is definitely the underdog, and as soon as the bell rings, he just charges Ishii. He's trying to kind of just knock Ishii down. He's running shoulder tackles, but Ishii's just standing there. I was going to say tall, but he's just standing there. Ishii then just knocks him down effortlessly. There's a chop exchange, a slap exchange. Hiromu starts to pick up some momentum and finally takes Ishii down with a drop kick. Ishii hits a delayed vertical suplex, which made me wonder, if you've got him up, why aren't you just hitting your brainbuster?
True.
Like, I kind of feel you should just eliminate that move from your repertoire if your finish is the brainbuster.
Right.
Because it looks dumb. Because Big Match Tom, you could have won this.
With the brainbuster.
With the brainbuster early on. We get a Falcon Arrow from Takahashi for a 2. Ishii just runs, and it's more of a shove than a pounce, but just sends Takahashi flying outside the ring.
I like the beginning. The story of this match is like that Takahashi is a junior heavyweight. He's never gotten to fight this guy because he's a heavyweight, when in reality they're the same height. But Takahashi is like, I'm gonna show you that, like, I deserve to be like fighting heavyweights. You know what I mean? Like, that's Absolutely. The story of this. And there's a part where he's like, they're going back and forth with the chops, but Ishii's just no-selling the chops, and then just starts just like a tree, just killing him. And then, like, I don't speak Japanese, but I can tell you what Tomohiro said to Takahashi here. He says, junior heavyweight, huh? Champion, huh? You're a champion? I don't know about that. And like washing his face and like pushing him around. I watched this with Kevin Kelly, but right as I'm thinking, I'm like, is he making fun of him because he's a junior heavyweight? And Kevin Kelly's like, he is making fun of the fact that he is a junior heavyweight and not a heavyweight.
Doesn't
I'm
belong
like,
there.
oh, you're going to lose, Tom.
So again, it's kind of that thing, as much as we always see Ishii as a babyface, he's kind of in this sort of match,
he's a bully.
He's got to play the heel. Hiromu keeps on attempting like a triangle hold on Ishii. Ishii manages... Sorry?
He calls it D.
D?
Because
Ishii manages to hit a sliding lariat. He counters the D into a powerbomb, which Hiromu managed to counter into a pin attempt for a 2. Ishii hits another huge lariat. Hiromu hits the dynamite plunger for only a 2 count. Hiromu is attempting lariats of his own, but he just can't knock down the stone pitbull. But Ishii's staggering at this point. He's not falling down, but he's rocked. There's third lariat blocked from Ishii, but then he eats a super kick. Takahashi picks him up, hits the DVD into the corner. It looks like he attempts a Poison Rana, but gets countered into a German suplex from Ishii, and then a dirty headbutt.
Ugh.
Takahashi comes back with a headbutt of his own, and Ishii is down. Hiromu follows up with another lariat, hits the time bomb, but kick out. And you can see Hiromu's getting frustrated here. What can he do? Ishii attempts the brainbuster, but can't quite hit it. Hits another headbutt, and then Takahashi follows up with his own brainbuster, stealing Ishii's very own move, and then hits the time bomb 2.
Yeah, this is like a reverse DDT kind of 1916 kind of thing where you lift the guy up and you drop him
hooking
backwards.
the leg.
Yeah,
it's how he introduced this at Wrestle Kingdom against Ospreay. And yeah, it's like a leg hook, kind of emerald flosion. It looks great. And 1, 2, 3, Hiromu Takahashi knocks out Tomohiro Ishii in 19 minutes.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I knew my boy Takahashi. I knew Hiromu had it when he headbutted Ishii, and Ishii dropped to the floor in pieces. I was like, oh no, this is it. Game over immediately. If you beat Ishii in a headbutt battle, you're winning the match. I think that's just how it is. He's not Samoan, but he's known for his headbutts. Wow, crazy. I love this match. This was so much fun. I'm pretty sure I want to see this as a main event, like at a Wrestle Kingdom or something. Just, I didn't quite get enough out of it. I think they could have went another 10 minutes, to be honest. I just felt like I haven't seen it before, and I was just in like shock. The styles are like kind of different, but at the same time not really. So it was really fun.
I mean,
to see this.
This match is probably the most highly praised of the whole tournament.
Yes, I would say so. Just because like the look of it alone, just like the back and forth, is just fantastic. The screaming. Ishii's my favorite thing about Ishii is he always hulks up. That's like a thing in his like repertoire. Like he's not taking your shit and he hulks up. And then Hiromu's thing is he just like screaming, as all these memes we've seen crawling in my skin. Oh my god. Hiromu is like, I'm not letting you like beat me. I'm not giving up. And I remember Kevin Kelly on commentary again was like, Hiromu came into this being like, well, I'm gonna try to beat a heavyweight and we'll see what happens. But then halfway through the match, he's like, no, I got this. I'm beating him. And then like he did. So the storytelling was really good as well. But I need to see these guys fight again and again. Like, wow. I loved it, but I want more. So I guess they did their job. I'd give this not quite a 5-star classic, but really close.
I went 4.75 with this one. Is that what you were saying then as well?
Yeah, I'd give it I still felt like there was so much still to happen in it, and then it kind of was cut short. I didn't even get to see Hiromu debuted that like butterfly power driver thing. He didn't hit that, and I was like, dude, there's so much that these guys still could do. So I'm gonna go 4.5. You know what? 4.75. Sure, let's do it.
Do you think Hiromu will be in the G1? Because I wouldn't be surprised if we get more junior heavyweights.
He definitely should be, man. Like it's weird that I didn't realize that they still categorize people like in the junior thing. Like you wouldn't put people in these other tournaments. Like Hiromu's one of their biggest stars, hands down. And you're not treating him like that. I think it would be a bad decision.
I think they're treating him like a
he
big
is
star.
now. Yeah, he is now. But like, that's what I'm saying. He probably will be in the G1. He has to.
I think unless they're able to get like foreign talent back for that. I see him in the G1, and I think we could have that match in front of a crowd there.
I was really bummed here because obviously our bracket here, I picked Big Tom to win the whole thing because I just want to see him get his big title match, his big push. It's just something I want to see. But at the same time, I was really biting for Hiromu versus Naito. Like, I'm not a Naito fan, but that match is a money match to me, and we didn't get any of those things.
Well, we were meant to see it, weren't we? It was meant to be at the anniversary show, but then COVID happened.
Exactly.
Because that's what the tradition is.
I think they're holding off on that. They're waiting for a big moment with the crowd
maybe.
And stuff. Yeah. So, but this was a lot of fun. I like the back and forth between each guy. Ishii, the Stone Pitbull, he's the guy you can throw in. He can take a pin. It doesn't matter. But like, I still need to see him reach him.
Yeah. Meltzer also gave this 4.75, cage match an 8.6.
This was really good. This match was awesome. Hiromu is such a character. You look at it and you just can't take away from the way he's dressed, the way he acts. Like, it's very I don't even know, polarizing. Just it makes you watch. You cannot look away when he's like wrestling because it's just so weird.
Well, we're going to talk about some more Hiromu because we go to the semi-final. Hiromu Takahashi versus Kozuchika Okada. This was the semi-final, July 3rd, 2020. The story, Okada's kind of debuted this Cobra Clutch that he's won every match in the tournament so far with.
Yeah, how do we feel about that?
I'm fine with him having a submission, and to be honest, why not debut it when there's no crowds? Mm-hmm. Kind of get it over on TV rather than doing it in front of a crowd that reacts like weirdly because they don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen people have kind of got used to the Judas effect now. Whereas think of the reaction when he kind of first hit that, and people are like, "What?" It didn't get like that big reaction. Whereas now he hits it out of nowhere, and you get that pop. So I think maybe it's the best time to introduce it.
It's the Cobra Clutch?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the $1 million
dream.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of looks like, I thought, and he hasn't done it thus far, and I know I'm jumping the gun here, but he locks in, like, uses the arms and, like, the back of your head and traps you like a Cobra, obviously, $1 million dream. But I thought that this all leads up to him releasing it, pulling you back in Rainmaker.
Maybe they're building up to that.
That's got to be able to build this. That's the only reason I see him using this move at all.
Maybe.
I don't necessarily like him using this move.
I imagine $1 Million Dream is maybe trademark, but as the Rainmaker, wouldn't that be what you call it?
Yeah. I find the whole time of him using Okada's one of my all-time favorites. He's great, the GOAT, literally. And I'm just like, oh, that's a little like a step down. I'm like, it's not a great submission move, realistically. It's not. So I'm just like, okay, this has to lead to something else. And I don't see him winning epic title matches and main events with this match. Main events with this move, but then this match happens, so I don't know.
I think also maybe it's one you can kind of lock in on anyone.
True.
I don't know. I like the idea. I always like wrestlers kind of introducing new moves. The move itself, I'm like, okay. I think, why not talk about it now? I found Okada pretty disappointing throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I just think it's his style. Because he's usually quite stoic. Do you know what I mean? And he knows how to kind of get that crowd to like get behind him. I don't think his style has worked in this environment. Whereas you look at the kind of Suzuki Nagada match where they're so engaging, like every little thing they do. Whereas Okada's always got that kind of calm look on his face, which when no one's reacting to it is kind of dull.
I don't know. I just find that maybe he's a little checked out. I don't know. Even watching him in his entrances, he's got the nice jacket on, which you're still trying to find online somewhere.
Oh yeah.
For your wedding one day.
Yeah, I'll wear it for my wedding.
But it's not the same. Something's different. Like, he could be coming out with balloons for all I care. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I got out of this. I didn't think that it doesn't work with this era of, like, no crowd and stuff. I just think, like, he himself right now is just, like, in this... There's no steam behind him. There's no story. There's no nothing. So why do we care?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I got out of it.
Maybe
but he's Okada.
Maybe a bit of both.
Yeah,
well.
I think it's a little bit of everything.
I love when you talk about Okada's entrance. I love watching Hiromu during his entrance.
Yeah.
Do you remember WrestleMania 29 when Punk is facing The Undertaker and Taker's gong goes off and Punk's just in the ring like smiling and laughing like, yeah, bring it on. Hiromu here, it was kind of like that, but also like, holy shit, I get to wrestle Okada?
Yeah.
And watching this guy coming out, he's just smiling about it, facing Okada, because again, that shouldn't normally happen. And again, if they have had a match, it's probably only one or two. Mm-hmm. And then just before the match starts, he just goes, Okada! And smiles. Love it. And Okada's look is like, who the fuck is this guy?
That's just Okada's look.
Yeah.
Dragon George is way ahead of all these wrestlers.
So, Hiromu takes down Okada early with the head scissors. Okada hits like the slingshot senton, like Eddie Guerrero. Hiromu trying to come back with some slaps to the chest, but it really doesn't affect Okada.
This is similar to the last match, which Stone Pitbull and Takahashi, like, Stone Pitbull's like, you can't chop me, like, what the fuck are you trying to do this? And then, like, fast forward in the match, Tom's getting headbutted and drops to his knees. So it's kind of like that way, but in my notes here, Hiromu is getting washed, bruh. Okada is making light work of him. And it's like, that's what I got out of this.
For me, like, we've seen all the, like, chop exchanges, slap exchanges, forearm exchanges. This was, like, the battle of the drop kicks, because they're just hitting shotgun drop kicks, missile drop kicks to each other, and it seems to be Hiromu realizes, that's how I can get this guy down, is the drop kicks. There's a drop kick on the floor, which actually sends Okada through the barricade. Hiromu hits a super kick and a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. Okada comes back with his classic combination of the flapjack, the running elbow into the corner, and the DDT for a 2. Okada hits his uppercut, but Hiromu just like shakes it off and hits a snap German right after. Looked great. Now we've got Okada hitting shotgun drop kicks, all over the place here.
I like how they started going back on the outside, and I know Okada always runs and does his like cross body, even in the as Dragon George in My Dad is a Real Wrestler. We did the review on Patreon. He doesn't quite hit that running dive because there's no crowd. He's like, fuck that, I'm not doing it. So he does the DDT instead, which is still great. But that's what I mean. Like, there's no crowd, so I feel like this alters you as a performer, like how you do your job.
It
like,
should,
realistically,
really.
Like,
it should.
It probably is a huge negative, to be completely honest. Watching WWE for the past few months, and so many of us wrestling fans were so critical and be like, oh, it's so shit, and the ratings go down because there's no crowd, it's garbage. It must be so hard not knowing what is working and what isn't working, especially for guys who like maybe aren't quite, vets and stuff like that. But when it comes to Okada, he's just like, I'm not doing a crossbody over the thing. There's no one here. Why would I do that? There's no one.
I think nature of Okada's matches as well, they're usually quite long and it slowly builds, and quite often the first like 15 minutes not much really happens, and then you've got these crazy sequences at the end that people are like going nuts for. That you can't really keep doing nothing.
There's no build up.
The matches I've enjoyed the most during this era are like the catch as catch can wrestling, like fight pit, that kind of stuff have been really good. Okada, I don't know, it's a mixture of things. Hiromu hits the sunset bomb to the floor, which I believe he's attempted every match in the tournament, not hit, and manages to get it on Okada. He hits the dynamite plunge for a near fall, drop kick from Okada, followed by the tombstone. He locks in the Cobra clutch. Hiromu manages to counter this into a DVD into the corner. Hiromu goes for the time bomb, but Okada runs out. Another shotgun drop kick. Hiromu goes for a lariat, but Okada counters it into the tombstone, which is countered into the Rainmaker from Hiromu.
The Daryl Maker.
The Daryl Maker. Which I love because in the match against Ishii, he steals the Brainbuster.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'll fucking do your moves.
He did it pretty good.
He did it great, and this really like woke me up for this match. I was like, oh shit, Takahashi hitting the Rainmaker, follows it up with the time bomb, and you think he's going to put away Okada, but he kicks out. This was probably the best part of the match. A really great near fall.
I really bit that he was going to pin Okada here because I was like, oh, that'd be a good little rub here. For really keep going. The steam is behind you. And
Hiromu goes for a triangle, or the D, just D, which gets countered into a power bomb, but Hiromu counters it into a roll up. There's another drop kick, clothesline, both are down. Okada just can't stop Hiromu. Everything that he's trying at him, this crazy guy is just getting back up.
Just too wild.
Hiromu attempts time bomb 2, but gets countered this time into the jumping tombstone, locks in the Cobra clutch. Hiromu's trying to get out, We get a spinning Rainmaker, a Cobra Clutch again. Okada releases, maintains wrist control, hits a short arm Rainmaker, maintains wrist control, another Rainmaker, locks in the Cobra Clutch, and Hiromu doesn't tap, but Red Shoes calls off the match because he is out.
Oh.
Referee stoppage in 27 minutes.
Yeah, okay, so a lot to take from this. So Okada, we said we don't like how his style is kind of working here. Maybe it's not his style, maybe it's just him right now, I don't know. There's no heat behind him right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no heat behind a lot of things in wrestling right now, just because of where we are. But I really thought that Takahashi was the guy of this tournament, considering he's in all their stuff. He's their junior champion. He's just a crazy face. Like, everything's kind of working for me. I was just really shocked that Okada, with this lame-ass sleeper hold, fucking, what is it? The Cobra Clutch. Dude, this was terrible. I'm sorry. This was really bad. I did not like this finish at all. Okada, I said, he is the GOAT. Try to fight me on it. He's the GOAT. But dude, not with this finish. What? I did not like this at all.
I liked the kind of multiple Rainmakers holding the wrist and then locking it in, and I thought it was good for Takahashi to not tap out but pass out.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the time for Takahashi to be beating Okada clean.
Sure.
But I was... Now we've seen everything play out, we go, okay, so we're going to Takahashi v Evil next. So it wouldn't make sense for that to be the final. And you maybe wanted the betrayal to be more against Naito with Evil than
right.
Hiromu. So in hindsight, it makes sense. At the time, I could have seen like a Gato distraction, which causes Hiromu to win.
Sure.
I think there was just, for me, more interest going into the final, Hiromu and Evil, because you could see it going either way. You go, well, we were meant to have Hiromu versus Naito anyway, so they might be just doing that now, and that's a great rub for Hiromu. Or you can have Evil, who's like leaving LIJ and turning his back on the guy who brought him in. Like, both of them work, whereas I could not see you going back to Okada and Naito this soon. I don't see who that serves.
No, I don't know. For me, it's so strange because New Japan has their big stars, like their main guys, as is WWE, as in wrestling. They have their main guys. And I would argue that Takahashi is up there now. He's in that list of, like, the main people. Trust me, people eat him up. They love it. And Okada's been on this, like, back burner, as is wrestling, but, like, he's just kind of chilling. There's no real steam behind him, so he could have lost, in my opinion. He could have lost here, but he didn't, and he didn't even win in a cool way. I just really don't like this move with him. I think, and I don't think it's the end of it. I think he's going to use this move for the rest.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like he's going to go on and use it. So, like you said, maybe I just got to get used to it, but it did not work for me here. I thought this was very anticlimactic of a tournament when your hottest guy just fell asleep at the end of it. I was like, this really hurt my watching experience in New Japan coming back with this, pandemic era of wrestling. I was just like, out of all the things you could have done, that's what you did?
The thing is, they don't view, like, we love Hiromu, but that's not how they view it. He is a junior heavyweight.
Right.
He probably wouldn't have even been in this tournament if it was...
That's so weird.
Regular time,
so
and
crazy.
They do graduate. Like, we saw Ospreay last year had a phenomenal Best of the Super Juniors and then lost a bunch in the G1.
Yeah.
Because he's not a heavyweight yet.
So stupid.
So,
kind of dumb.
But I think we'll get Hiromu eventually graduate, and he'll eventually be getting wins over these guys.
Yeah.
I quite like the match. I think we're both on the same page with Okada in this tournament. I like the story they told. I thought Hiromu just playing the underdog, coming back from everything, was great. It took Okada. He didn't just like steamroll through this guy. It took Okada a lot. It took him 3 Rainmakers and his new submission.
And he wrapped his arms around him and put him to sleep.
And the guy still didn't.
He cuddled him to sleep.
So I think Hiromu actually comes away from this with a lot.
This is what you said, like, earlier with the finishes in these tournaments, like, not like, so he didn't tap. So his whole thing is, yo, Okada, you beat me technically, but I didn't tap out, so I want to fight you again. So one day we'll get like their like big blow off there, because it does leave me going, well, dude fell asleep.
I'll build up my neck muscles and then you can't.
Yeah, you won't be able to put me to sleep. I'll drink some coffee. You won't be able to do it. I'll beat you. This should have been my match of the tournament. This should have been something that I was super behind. This didn't make it. I wouldn't even put it in this list of things. I would give this 3.5 stars. This didn't do anything for me. I was really upset that it just. Maybe you're right. It's Okada. Maybe it's like something just didn't click for me. I was watching it and I watched it now. And I'm like, watched it today, and I'm just like, what is not working with this? When I watch Okada, I sit back, I smoke one, and I'm like, look at this man, the god of wrestling, and I didn't get that out of. I mean, he wore the jacket in his entrance, but
again, like I found this so much better with the Japanese commentary rather than just Kevin Kelly being solo.
True.
They added so much. Like they really. Those near falls with Hiromu, they really got your bites.
I do prefer we do best match ever, and we've been going back. We did a Stan Hansen. It was like was it All Japan Pro Wrestling? A lot of those matches, the commentary that we find these matches on YouTube and Daily Motion and stuff. It's all in Japanese commentary, and it makes it so fucking like you're so into it because they're screaming and shouting.
But it's also it would just be weird for Kevin Kelly screaming on his own as well.
Yeah,
I think.
So
I'd say. If you were to watch it with the Japanese commentary. I was higher on it than you. I quite like the story. I do think the commentary helped, as I said. I went 4. And you said I wouldn't put it in the list. Like, when I was looking at the other matches, I'd still put this in the top 5. I could have... There was Ibushi, Zack Sabre Jr., but I've seen that so many times. I didn't really like that either. I wasn't that hot on that one. I think they've had way better matches. And then you're talking Taichi and Ibushi or Taichi and Takahashi.
You know what? I was really I was really into this idea of the tournament, and when they announced they came back, but my whole entire highlight of the entire New Japan Cup was that one commercial where it's Tanahashi, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and he's trying to use an app, and a girl walks by and he looks at the camera and he's like, da-da-da, New Japan, da-da-da-da. That was the highlight of the entire 5 stars. For that commercial with Hiroshi Tanahashi, not the one with Ospreay playing New Japan Super.
Oh my God! Look! Oh, I've got Ibushi.
As soon as I watched that, I said my one friend Shane is obsessed with WWE Supercard, so I was like, "Hey, I just watched Will Ospreay talk about New Japan Supercard," and he's like, "Shut up, that's not real." 2 days later, he's like, "So I got Supercard for New Japan." I'm like, "Oh, is it good?" He's like, "Absolutely not. It's not a game. You just collect." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So. I'm joking, but the commercials in this cup were really funny. But I would say that, to be honest, I was a little let down with this New Japan
The
cup.
tournament fizzled out. I think the best matches were kind of in the first round. Honestly, I should have probably put Toriano versus
That's the match.
Takahashi.
I'm thinking about it. I'm like, what was the one
because
we watched?
That was so much fun.
Okay, honorable mention, best match ever. Hiromu Takahashi versus Toriano. 5-star.
Do you know why I didn't put it in the list? Because this show, Best Match Ever, only goes up to 5-star.
Yeah.
And that one broke the scale. Yeah, that went 5.75. So
that match is great. I hate Toriano. I really do. But that was so funny. Maybe because I was lit watching it like 3 in the morning with you one night.
It was genuinely funny. If you want to watch a good comedy match, we see so much shit. With the finish being in an elevator, it's brilliant. So I just thought it was unfair to the other matches to really even talk about it.
It was. How could any match beat Toriano claiming that he's going to cut the hair of Hiromu because it's quarantine and he needed a haircut, so he's like, I'm going to cut your great red dyed hair off. He's got luscious locks.
Yeah.
So he comes to the ring in a helmet because he doesn't want his hair cut. And the whole match, he's trying not to get the scissors to his hair. He then gets tied up to a guy. They fight in the elevator. Oh my God, that's fucked up to say, but the highlight of the New Japan Cup was that.
So I went 4 on this Okada Hiromu one.
Yeah.
I'd probably go lower with Kevin Kelly, to be honest.
Sure.
Meltzer gave it 4, Cage Match an 8.29. So they're like the sort of top matches we talked about. But it's time to talk about which one was your match of the tournament.
Yes.
Or could you say best match ever?
Yes, definitely.
New Japan Cup 2020.
So, best match ever, New Japan Cup 2020. I really enjoyed Sho versus Shingo because this like little feud that they kind of organically have created here seems like it is really interesting and really exciting. But I'm gonna go safe. I'm going with I think it's unanimous. I think a lot of people agree. The Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii versus Hiromu Takahashi. I really enjoyed it. It left me wanting a bit more. It wasn't the best match ever, quote unquote, but it was close to it, and it leaves me wanting to see a rematch down the line where they just kill each other even more.
I 100% agree. That's my pick. It was my highest rated one of the tournament. Really fun match to watch back as well, and hopefully, as I said, I'd love to see them have a rematch in the G1. Tomohiro needs his win back, and
Tomohiro just always loses.
We'll be having crowds then. So I'm looking forward to seeing that again down the line.
So best match ever, New Japan Cup 2020, Ishii versus Takahashi. That's what we think.
Yes.
And then in an asterisk, Takahashi versus Toriyama.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Before we kind of end, they did lead up to Dominion, which had happened last week on the 12th of July. And quickly, did you watch Dominion? I picked out stuff because I'm not watching. I'm done with these 6-man tags.
Yeah, I watched Sho versus Shingo, and I watched Evil versus not Toriano, Naito.
So, yeah, Shingo versus Sho was another one I really, really liked. I think I just keep wanting to see him wrestle, and I think Sho will eventually, challenge again and maybe take the title from him, but he did not. Shingo retained the never openweight title in a great match, and I still don't know how Sho does that upside down straitjacket cradle pile driver thing. It's awesome. But what wasn't awesome was the main event and the outcome, I guess. It shook the wrestling world across here. Evil defeating Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP World Heavyweight title and Intercontinental title. He's doubled Evil dose straps. I hate Evil for personal reasons, but I also hate Evil because I don't really like him. Don't think he's a good wrestler. I'm not saying I don't think he's a good wrestler. He's a good tag team. He's been in tag team for a long time. Would never have booked it this way. Would never even imagined that it would end up this way. I just felt like there was so many different avenues you could have went with, so many different experiments, but they landed on Evil. What happened?
To start with, I don't mind as much, mainly because I don't really rate Naito, to be honest.
Sure, you don't like Naito, yeah.
I don't particularly enjoy his matches. Sure, he's had matches I've enjoyed, but in general, I do not get excited about Naito matches, and I wasn't excited about this title run. I think what I don't have is that kind of love for LIJ that I know is big in Japan.
Yeah.
So I feel maybe with Japanese fans, this is like, holy shit, that's such a breakup and such a betrayal. Whereas I'm like, I don't care about either guy. I thought the match itself was pretty shit. Way too long.
38 minutes.
Way overbooked. Like, Red Shoes just taking bump after bump. He took more bumps than Suzuki in this tournament. And
True.
But I don't hate the idea of pulling the trigger on something different.
Yeah.
My problem both with Evil and Sonata is their personality. I find them just lacking charisma. I think as wrestlers both are fine, both are actually quite good and can actually surprise me here and there with good performances, but not too often. But I don't think this is going to go on for a long time. This isn't going to, I'd be shocked if this is like Wrestle Kingdom main events.
This is where I'm getting at, yeah.
But I feel this is more, okay, Evil's your champion, but this is more of a way to kind of elevate Hiromu, because you've got the angle with Hiromu being so upset that his brother has betrayed them. It's a way of, it's giving a meaty story to help elevate other people. I see this being a short-term thing. You've created a main eventer. Is it who I want to be the main eventer? No. But look, we said we're getting tired of Okada earlier. It's
sure.
like they need to shake it up, because Tanahashi, Okada, Naito, they ain't getting any younger. So you kind of need to add someone to the mix. I think Bullet Club are pretty shit now.
Very.
I'd have even, I'd have liked Kenta even back when this was happening if you were going to take this title away. But as I said, LIJ, we don't have that particular personal connection with them as a faction that so many people do. Evil is the first guy Naito brought in. He's been his right-hand man. So it kind of makes sense.
It's how did you know, how did you not know this guy was going to turn on you? His fucking name is Evil.
Yeah.
You're going to be my friend, right? Yeah. What's your name? Evil. Huh, I don't see any problem with that. I don't care that, they are pushing, this new guy. You're right. They got to make new stars. I just feel like such an odd... It took all the air out of my excitement for New Japan instantly. And I know I'm not alone because...
for sure.
Just, so many people were hating on it. And I'm like, man, the hate is kind of valid because I got spoiled. And I saw Evil 1 and I saw him beat Naito. But I was like, this is a rip. This isn't real. I didn't believe it. So I actually just watched it. I had to watch it to see it for myself. And then I sat through that fucking match. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is bad. This isn't... I was ready to sit down and have points on how to defend this, and I don't have one. I don't like it at all. I kind of just shat on some of the cup that it was you're doing it to do it. Put some stuff behind it, and this Evil. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Naito either. He's really not one of my favorite wrestlers at all. But the guy does have good matches. His match with Okada at Wrestle Kingdom, phenomenal, amazing. This match with Evil, no. Am I going to see Evil main event at Tokyo Dome? Which, I know travel isn't a thing right now, but, as wrestling fans, we're all, looking at our calendar, okay, so, will I be able to travel for January 4th? Will I be able to go to wrestling one day? Is that a thing? Is Wrestle Kingdom going to be a thing? Will they let me go? Now that Evil's champion, I'll wait till next year sounds good.
Also, I think with the likes of Jay White and Kenta not being there for Bullet Club right now, they kind of needed that leader. And once you've done the angle with Evil turning, it completely stops his momentum to have him come up short at the end.
I guess.
But as said, I don't give a shit about Naito either. So I was very meh about it. I was like, okay, cool, it's something fresh, which I think New Japan's looked very, as much as I love the matches, it's kind of looked the same for the last couple of years with their roster and stuff. So at least that's fresh. But I just want to see, get a Bushi in there with the title.
Yeah, I don't understand why it wasn't a Bushi. Look, my match of the year right now, and as we're recording this, is Ibushi versus Okada from Wrestle Kingdom. And the next night, Okada loses to Naito. And if you ask me, that's classic New Japan storytelling. Okada, their fucking god of wrestling, lost to Naito, who again is a huge character, but he lost to Naito because he had to fight Ibushi the night before. He wasn't fresh. Naito was fresh. That's my angle that I was like, we're going to get that again, and Okada's going to wipe the floor with him. Didn't get that because it's just not happening. So then I go, okay, well, you see, Ibushi lost to Okada, but there's the history with Ibushi and Naito with that crazy storyline, the angle matches they had years past. Then you can go with that, and that's how Ibushi will get the title. And nope, they didn't do that either. Okay, well, we could elevate someone else. I mean, there's that Shingo guy. He's been all right. He's good. Nope, it's not going to him either. Okay, cool. Who else is next in that line? I don't know. How about Evil? It's how did you land on that?
But also, this isn't. This is in front of a third capacity after
suck.
I don't want to see I want to see an Ibushi or a Shingo win it on a bigger stage.
Sure.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So I see this story playing out. I see maybe Naito getting it back by the end of the year, getting his revenge on Evil. I'd have Ibushi win the G1 again because he was kind of robbed of his main event. He's like, sure, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know, it's weird. We had a whole...
And then I'd have... Because Ibushi and Naito had that big feud last year.
Yeah.
You've then had it rested for a whole year I do a Bushi Naito Tokyo
at the Dome. Yeah, that's what I imagine next year's main event being, is Ibushi Naito as the headliner, at least for one of the nights. And it's like, oh, okay, so are we still gonna get that or not?
And then hopefully Evil has been elevated somewhat, having that run, and can, I don't know, Jay White,
I don't care.
like battle for Bullet Club.
Cool. That means I can go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
that'd be great. So everything is Evil. Evil is the double champion. I was a little down on the Cup as a whole, and Dominion, really down on that. But you know, they'll turn it around. I'm assuming. I'm guessing. I'm hoping. Yeah. Any final thoughts on the New Japan Cup? I don't know. I was like, look, as wrestling fans, we've been watching like the WWE, or some of us have, and it's like, I have so many non-friends or co-workers or family friends who are like, oh, you watch wrestling? Why is wrestling still on but sports aren't? And they're like, I can't believe that like that's happening. They must be killing it. And I'm like, no, it's actually, they're doing quite the opposite. They're tanking hard, and it sucks. It sucks with no crowd. And then New Japan comes out, and I got so excited, like schoolgirl almost, like, oh yes, actual wrestling. Like New Japan, they treat it like a real sport, right? Like they treat it like it's wrestling. And then the first thing they do is do WWE shit. It's book Evil and this shit. It's like, what?
My thoughts are, I don't normally watch the New Japan Cup anyway. This is like, for me, New Japan Cup is like a B or a C level, and that's what they're coming back with. Like the G1, like restore my faith. The G1 will be coming soon. I think that will help. But yeah, I would normally cherry pick this tournament anyway. This feels like WWE's been off for a while, and you're coming back to Survivor Series, maybe. You know, like it's a big thing, but it's not. It's Survivor Series. It's no SummerSlam. It's no Rumble. It's no Mania.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I feel with this. So I was grateful to have some wrestling.
Me too.
And I think now we've got some story directions. G1 should be great.
Yes.
I'm the positive one here. I'm going to try and stay positive.
I know. It really got me down. But this is, even like I said, I even had to watch Evil versus Naito for myself. So I knew. It's like when everyone was like, yeah, you see Ryan Reynolds as the Green Lantern, and you're like, yeah, I heard it's shit. Well, like, how you gonna know for sure? You gotta watch the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
To know it's shit. I can tell you. I got about 25 minutes into the Green Lantern, and I fucking hate that movie. So. I don't like Evil. I don't like Naito. I don't like you. All right? No, I'm joking. Thank you so much for listening. This was best match ever. We did decide on the exact same match, which I think is unanimous between wrestling fans, of Ishii and Takahashi, and neither of those guys won this tournament or became champions. So I'm just bitter. I'm just sour that Ishii's not champ. Think about the story with Kenny Omega in New Japan. How the story was, he keeps trying to be champion, and like it made the title like so big, it made it so good, and he won the title. He beat Okada. You're like, holy shit, the champion! And then Jay White wins the title like really quick, and I really took the gas out of that for me. And then this guy wins the title. I don't give a shit about these titles. These titles suck. I'm watching horror show. That's what I'm watching. I'm gonna watch Extreme Rules, horror show. Monday Night Raw.
I want to watch a man's eye get pulled out of the socket. And yeah, let's quickly plug that before we say goodbye. We are live on the YouTube right now. You can join us tonight for upNXT at 10:30 Eastern Time.
Yes.
I will also be going live with some guests this Sunday for the horror show at Extreme Rules on this very YouTube channel, youtube.com/upNXT. I will also be joining John Pollock and Nate Milton for our Slammiversary review this Saturday.
You're just all over the place.
I'm all over the place. And this show has taken the place of the... we've been doing the free Star Wars reviews for over a year now. And we've taken a little break from that because Star Wars is kind of finished for the time being. Mm-hmm. So this best match ever kind of little taster has gone in that slot. And next month is our summer month.
Yeah, we decided on something.
So, right when we started doing movie reviews, we started with Halloween, because both of us love horror films.
Yes. And
on our Patreon, we have a big summer-themed month next month. So we thought, for our free review on this feed... Next month, we will do something summery and spooky. So what are we doing, Braden?
Well, I don't know what you're doing this summer, but I can tell you, I know what you did last summer.
Ahoy!